I finished weaving as much as I want done. One thing you want to make sure you do before you start taking your project off your board is make sure that your threads are packed down tightly. So you can see down here, I've packed it down tightly, and up here, I haven't been packing at all. So if this is what you've been doing as you've been weaving, you want to make sure you pack it down. How to do that? You take the threads and you sort of just push down, and you flip the board, and you push down some more. Work your way up the board as you go. If things are really far, you can start kind of at the top as well. So you want to pack tight until there is no more of those vertical threads, the warp threads, visible, except for maybe where you might have had an oops row, but it should be tight packed and no gaps. So this is how big my project is. In order to make an effective project, you need to have at least like 3 fingers tall from the bottom of where the threads are. Anything smaller than that is not really usable, and it's just a little bit too short. So keep getting threads and add more until when it's tight packed, it is at least 3 fingers tall. And the bigger you go, the more useful the pouch can be. But you can still use this size for headphones or even money or whatever you'd like to do. When you decide you are done, you take a pair of scissors and you cut threads and start tying knots. So to cut threads, you go up to the top of the board. Do not cut next to the project. You need to cut at the top of the board, and you cut 2 threads at a time. Do not cut all of the threads or you will be sad. 2 threads, that's it. Now, you are going to make a knot. To make a knot, you're going to tie like the beginning of a shoelace knot. So you take your 2 threads, you crisscross them over each other, and then you take the one that is on top and it's going to go through the middle, like you're crossing your arms, crisscross, and then around through. Now they're crisscrossed and I pull tight against the project. I don't want to pull these all the way out, but just tight against the project is just fine. And then I repeat that one more time. Crisscross. Okay, 2 threads are crossed each other. And now I have the one that's on top. It's going to go around and through the center. And I pull those 2 threads again. Okay, crisscross around through twice. There we go. Now I flip the whole board over. And on this side, I should have a loose thread that's already been cut. And the other one, which was a taped thread, I can bring to the front here. And I'm going to repeat those knots. Crisscross, around through, tie, crisscross, around through. You also want to tie your ending thread to one of the warp threads. Now I have one loose thread that isn't tied to anything, so I'm going to cut one more. So I have a partner, and I'm going to tie these 2 together. Flip my board. I have a loose thread. It needs a partner. Tie those 2 together. Flip my board. I have a loose thread. It needs a partner. Tie those 2 together. Now, on the last one here, I don't have a partner. This guy is all by itself. So what do? I just pick a thread that's nearby and I tie it to that one. Crisscross around through twice. This project is ready to come off the board. However, it is always good to have a little bit of insurance on these knots that I've just done. And I'm going to put a little dot of glue on each of the tied threads that I've done for this whole project. Any place where I have those tied threads, just putting a little dot of glue, and all those ones at the top as well. Before I flip my board, I'm just going to take my hand and work that glue into the knots. I'm going to flip the board and repeat on this side. Yes, I do have some glue on my fingers, but with the magic glue rub, it will go away. Now I have glue on all of my knots, and I'm ready to take my project off the board. This is a process that needs shimmying to make happen. What do I mean? I'm going to grab the cardboard pretty firmly and my bag pretty firmly, and I'm going to start pulling down. This yarn that's taped on the back, I want to make sure I pull that out. Just get it off the board. All right. I've got a loose thread down here. I can tie this to a neighbor thread just to make sure that doesn't come unraveled. Okay. And I'm going to take my whole project and I'm going to flip it inside out. So I'm putting my fingers on the inside of this part here, fingers on the outside, and I'm pushing all of that fabric to the inside now. Any thread tails or anything that starts sticking out that I don't want, I can push that to the inside too. This starting thread can also go on the inside. I've got these long tassels that I could choose to cut or I could choose to leave long. Either way is fine. But here is my awesome bag. If there's a long thread that you don't like the look of, make sure it goes on the inside before you cut it, and make sure it's tied to something. So that one thread, I do want to find somebody to tie it to. It's often helpful to tie it to a longer thread to start with, but any tail is fine to tie it to. So there's my finished little pouch. Looks great. So it's got a solid bottom, and I've got my finished edge. Again, if there's anything poking out in a weird way, feel free to pull it through. On the inside, you can cut these whatever length you want. You can leave them long as well.